Okay, Janine, so I think it's about a couple minutes after 8. We'll have some people joining us as we go, but maybe I'll introduce myself and then you can introduce yourself just to everybody in terms of a bit of your background. Does that work for you?
Yeah, that's
Okay,
fine.
excellent. So again, my name is Ihor Michalchyshyn. I'm the Executive Director and CEO of the Ukrainian Canadian Congress. We work closely with the Ukrainian Canadian Ukrainian Canadian Congress Charitable and Educational Trust. We've been very busy at this time, working on many programs to support the community, but including our fundraising. In terms of my background, I worked previously for 14 years for the government of Manitoba, but I worked in the political side. So I did, through various political campaigns, learn a lot about fundraising at the door, at the kind of professional level as well, and have been very fortunate to be able to work with Janine Kuzma, who is UCC's fund development manager. Sorry. So I'll ask Janine to introduce herself just before we get into the presentation. So over to you, Asu.
Yes, so as you said, I am the fund development manager for UCC. I am a professional fundraiser. I have a degree in fundraising management, and I've been working for UCC for the past 3 years. Before I worked for the University of Toronto Schools, JAC.org, and the Childhood Cancer as a fundraiser.
Great. So again, for anybody who's joining us, we are going to start with a slideshow presentation. At the bottom of your screen, there is a Q&A button, and you can click on that and answer. Sorry, you can type in a question for us to answer at any time. We'll try. There are no questions yet, but we'll try to keep an eye on that as the presentation goes. And then at the end, if there are any questions, we can certainly get into that. And so I think you have open on your screen Janine's presentation. So I'm going to shut my camera off, but I'm going to be listening attentively as well. So Asu, over to you.
Yes, so welcome and thank you for joining us to the webinar, Fundraising 101 during COVID-19. Let me just start by saying that this pandemic is affecting every organization, and every organization, whether it's arts or cats lovers, we all have to work hard to deliver our programs and continue our mission. So don't think for a second that because COVID is a health issue, we are automatically losing our supporters. We have to adjust, obviously, to the situation. We have to be creative, and we might have to pivot to carry our message. So let's just start with key findings. 80% of donors are concerned about their favorite nonprofit ability to operate. And this is a very good news. 80% is a high number, and we should use this information to our advantage. 1/3 say they don't have the information they need to direct their COVID-19 support effectively. And this is to do with communication. So communication especially during the crisis, is the key. 1/4 say they will give to different organizations as a result of the pandemic. And this is totally fine. This is expected during such a crisis. So now, what are the steps for the organization to weather the coronavirus crisis? I listed 9 that I felt are the most important ones. First, stay calm and carry on. If you are about to launch a campaign, proceed as planned. You might need to adjust the language in your letters, but just go ahead and carry on with your plan. Continue with your annual campaign as scheduled. Again, you might need to adjust the language in your letters and in your communications. The only thing you cannot do now are the physical events. So what do? You think virtually. Be creative. Think outside the box. if before COVID you were doing festivals or galas and you were raising money that way, think how you can do this virtually. So decide on the date, the time, the theme, invite public, and just do them virtually. You're gonna ask me probably how. Well, you can post testimonials about past festivals. You can play clips from the past festivals. Definitely invite guests, singers, artists, and do this via Zoom. We have a lot of great platforms that we can use for our virtual events. Just recreate festivals virtually and fundraise that way. The key is when you are organizing a festival virtually is to engage participants. Ask for pictures, make a collage and post this collage on your social media. Maybe ask participants to send you a Zoom video with their friends talking about festival and having fun. So festivals, virtual galas are all about being creative. And I have to say, COVID-19 is the time to be creative. Second step to weather the coronavirus crisis is decisive leadership. Get your board involved. They are your weapons. And this is very important. Let the board be your ambassadors for the organization. They should fundraise, as well as participate in your social media messages. They should obviously monitor the financial situation of the organization. They should do risk assessment and maybe figure it out the situation, the plan how to deal with any type of risks. They should, again, work very closely with the executive director, and of course, they should donate. Everyone on the board should give. The board should be 100% involved in giving. You're gonna ask me why I give my time, why should I give money? Simple. Donor will ask you eventually, are you also donating money? And if you say, well, no, but I donate time, the donor is gonna say, well, obviously you don't really believe in your organization, you don't wanna invest financially, why should I invest? So make sure whether you donate $5, $10, doesn't matter how much, as long as you can say, yes, I'm a donor, yes, everybody on the board is a donor. Third step is in all communications, be personal. Communicate with your donors, stakeholders, volunteers by phone, email. You have now lots of time because of the coronavirus and everybody's sitting at home, so pick up the phone, write an email, write a personal note. Even a lot of nonprofits are using texting, so text someone, how are you doing, what's new? And don't forget to thank your donor. Also, it's a good idea to ask the donor for the advice. 4, deploy technology solution to help pivot. We just talked about festivals, using technology to do your festival. Remember, the usage of internet went up by 71%. This is also a good news because of the people sitting at home. Grandkids are talking to their grandparents via internet. So that's why you have 75% usage of internet. The other good news is when it comes to technology that the cost of ads on social media has fallen. So use them, use those ads to promote your cause, to be visible. 5, engage supporters. Try to reach to the lapsed donors, and if you can, look for new donors. Just continue what you have been doing before. Talking about lapsed donors versus new donors. I would always start to reach out first to lapsed donors. Why? Because they already know you. They already know your mission. They've been supporting you. So you don't have to waste your time in explaining or persuading to join your organization. And statistically, getting lapsed donors is cheaper than getting new donors.
Ashu, I'm just going to interrupt you for a sec because
Sure.
we have a bunch of new people that have joined the call. So I just wanted to again introduce ourselves. I'm Ihor and this is Janine. We're doing the UCC fundraising webinar, and Janine is giving a presentation from her perspective as a professional fundraiser. If you are watching as a participant and you'd like to ask a question throughout the presentation or at the end, there is a little button at the bottom that says Q&A. We've already had a couple of people ask questions. One of the questions was, will this PowerPoint be available to download? And so the answer that I've typed there is that we are recording this presentation to post to UCC's YouTube channel. So you'll be able to watch us over and over again as often as you'd like, and perhaps share it with your organization and other friends and family. This is the beginning of a series of webinars on fundraising, but certainly we're here to help all of you. So Janine, with that, I can see that we have some more participants. So we just want to welcome everybody, and I'll shut up now and let you continue on with your great presentation.
Yes, so we were talking about the 9th step to weather the coronavirus crisis, and I've went through the first 5. Now I'm on the 6th one. So avoid cancellation, don't refund. If you sold tickets to the event, ask your donor, would you consider converting your ticket into a tax-deductible donation? And if you say tax-deductible donation, the donor will know, great, I'm gonna get a tax deduction, why not? I don't want the money, let me get the tax deduction receipt. And to a sponsor, you can say, we are offering added value to our sponsorship. 7, don't make assumptions. Ask for what you need. Show your need and provide option. What do I mean by provide option? Give the option on, well, if you can't donate now, can I reach out to you? Can I ask you for the donation in the next few months? Give another option as, can you donate monthly? Instead of, if you can't donate $100 now, can you maybe donate every month $10? So give donor an option so he knows that, he has the option and he can donate whatever amount he is able to. 8, make short-term and long-term action plan for your organization. And I will explain this to you or show the example in my next slide. And 9, follow basic fundraising practices. And I will talk about them in my next or my second slide. So this slide shows you the example of short-term action plan for your organization. So you put what you're gonna do and when you're gonna do it. So for example, video calls with donors you do the first week. Then emails to your donors with any types of updates, you can do the second week. Personal calls to donors, you do the first week and the third week. So just do whatever works for you. Then share your updates on social media, do your webinars. Again, make the schedule and follow the plan. I mentioned fundraising practices, and I listed most important one. I always believe that communication is very important, and you should increase your communication, especially now. Keep your stakeholders and donors fully informed. They want to know how we are affected by the current situation. Stewardship. Um, Reach out to your donors, make it personal, check up on your donors, call them, email them. And we actually did this at UCC, where we were reaching out to our donors, asking them how they are dealing with the situation, if they need any help. And I have to say that donors do appreciate that we care. Motivate and engage. Donors who feel engaged and connected will continue to support their organization, and especially in time of crisis. Tailor your messages and always follow fundraising rules when writing letters. What do I mean by that? When you are writing a letter, and if anybody has a question about letters, please ask me, because writing a letter is an art. It's not marketing when you write a letter, it's a fundraising, which is totally different. When you ask for something that you don't see, you ask differently. Anyways, don't use jargons in your letters. When you write a letter, make it donor-centric. Don't make it organization-centric. What do I mean by this? I mean, don't use "we did this." Use "because of you, we were able to." So the donor knows that you appreciate him or her by saying, "you helped us." Always thank your donor for donation, especially for donation, as soon as possible. The rule is usually 24 to 48 hours. Make sure you know your organization's mission by heart, sort of have like an elevator pitch. Why? A lot of times donors are saying to me, well, I spoke with this, and this person, when I asked him about the mission, was just, giving me 20 sentences, and I couldn't understand what the mission is really about. So that's what I mean, elevator pitch. 3 sentences to the point. What is the mission of your organization? This is a key, and this is very important for a donor to understand what you are about. Leverage technology, incorporate videos, podcasts, or virtual briefings. Consider special fundraising initiatives. Highlight the intersection of your mission and the need arising in response to the crisis. For example, the initiative could be Mother's Day. So when you write a letter, you can ask for donation in honor of your mother. So use those days, or Giving Tuesday now, which is on May 5th. Use those initiatives to ask for money and to fundraise. And finally, never be afraid to ask for donation. If you do not ask, you don't get. Simple as that. I talked about briefings, webinars, and updates, and here are some examples of those special briefings or webinars of updates. So you can have, let's say, webinar on how your organization is responding to current situation. You can have updates in regards to government resources, so navigate your donor. Share detailed information on cancellations or postponements of events. Let donors know that they can donate and for what. statistically, they are more likely to donate during crisis. So update them and let them know that they can still donate and you need the money. And finally, update and keep in touch with the volunteers. Make sure you don't lose them. Ask them how they would like to help. Maybe they can help you organizing or participate in webinars. So involve them, because sooner or later you will need them. So don't lose them.
Asya, I'm just going to pop in for 1 sec.
Sure.
On that last point about volunteers and programs. We've heard from Minister Hussein, Minister of Social Development, that there is going to be, I think it just passed a couple of hours ago, a new package for organizations to organize special projects for COVID-19 and engage students as volunteers. So again, I know there were some amendments to the bill as it was proposed, but UCC will be looking into that, and we'll send out some information to all of you and our organizations and branches on that as well, because there's the theory being that there's lots of students that are going to be looking for summer jobs, but also students who might want to volunteer, and the government was giving some incentives to students who wanted to volunteer on COVID-19 projects. So again, we don't know very much other than what was announced on the 22nd, I believe, of April, but we are actively speaking with Minister Hussein and the government to see how organizations can apply and how organizations can find volunteers to participate. So just a breaking news point, and back to your great presentation.
And actually, ironically, COVID-19 is a great opportunity to get young volunteers.
Mm-hmm.
And we just, I was at the car parade on Sunday that was organized by our youth in support of our seniors. So again, COVID-19, great opportunity to engage our young potential supporters.
Just a reminder, if you have any questions on anything that's been raised in the presentation, or if something you want to ask after, you just use the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. Along the bottom there, it says Q&A, and you can type in your question. Nothing yet, but we'll just let Asya keep going, and we'll check in a little bit. Okay.
So this slide is very important. It's about reaffirming your mission and impact. So continue reminding your donors of your mission and the impact they are making. And again, remember when I said it's donor-centric, so say, because of you, we were able to do this and that. If your organization have a special role to play, explain it. Tailor your organization's messaging to demonstrate how your values, mission, and vision align with and are relevant to the current circumstances. So again, make sure you repeat and you underline your mission and the impact your organization is making. Motivate your stakeholders, donors, and volunteers, reminding them of the resilience of philanthropy in difficult times. Talk to them, engage them via questionnaires, ask them to share their stories with you, videos, ask them for advice. Donors, volunteers who feel engaged and connected will continue to support the institutions, especially in times of crisis. And remember, crisis motivate people to give. At the beginning of my presentation, I said 80% of people will give during crisis to their favorite organization. Your organization's work does not stop because of the crisis. In fact, during crisis, we have to work harder. Third, your organization needs help now more than ever. Remember that. And always show empathy. We all have been impacted by COVID-19. So if somebody says to you, I can't donate to you now, say, that's fine. I understand. Let's keep in touch. I think, well, I'm sure I am done with my slides. So if you have any questions, you can type them now, or if you can always reach me, and my phone number is on the screen, and also my email. So anytime you have questions, please do not hesitate to let me know, and I'll try to help you the best as I can. So any questions, go ahead.
Дуже дякую. Thank you, Asu, for that presentation. It was a good overview. And I would say definitely while many of us were very nervous a couple of weeks ago, about a month ago when the situation began, I think at this point it's clear sort of what the path ahead is in terms of the kind of social distancing impacts and the kind of programs that people need. And we've been highlighting some excellent examples in UCC's weekly update, and are always looking for other examples as well. So again, the floor is open to questions. We're going to just look at the first question. It's from Lasya Zelik, and so saying, Janine, will there be additional fundraising webinars? Do you want to answer that one?
If we have enough people interested, I'll be glad to have them. So yes.
So the answer is yes. So actually, Janine and I have been working with our team at UCC on a number of webinars. You may have heard that we did one with the Ukrainian Canadian Bar Association about seems like a month ago, 3 weeks ago. We've done one with the Ukrainian Canadian Chamber of Commerce, and we're doing one on this Friday, which is hugely popular on immigration issues, and we're going to do another one on settlement issues. So UCC is working on a number of these webinars. We have on our website, ucc.ca, there is a resource page where we've put some of the presentations and video from previous webinars, where this as well will be added, and we have additional information there about some of the programs. One of the other things that Janine and I have worked on, knowing that seniors is our particular focus group for us, there is a seniors phoning script to help organizations who are phoning in terms of the kind of things you can ask and how to prepare yourself when you're calling. So there will be more fundraising seminars to come. Future topics, another question, Asu. I know that we've talked about, this was a webinar that we were doing as a first try for UCC member organizations. We've talked about a number of specific topics like engaging your board, planned giving, and others. Are there other topics, Janine, that you think we should be covering? Or maybe we can ask our audience here.
You know, I think writing letters would be a great topic.
Yeah.
Ask letters. I think because again, they are not the same as a regular letter, and there is a special way to write them, and special tricks like using PS or PPS. Right. So if anybody is interested, I'll be glad to.
Great. Okay. So another question, or more of a comment here, saying the presentation will be available. We would like to get the PowerPoint. So yes, I mean, we can absolutely, Janine and I will just review the PowerPoint and turn it into a PDF, so we can, I think we can share it with everybody who's registered today and the next couple of days. And we will be able to do that. And there was just somebody, Mariana says, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Okay, maybe Janine, I'm going to ask you a couple more questions while we have some people. What are the sort of the three most common problems that or three most common questions that you know, as a fundraiser, when you were being trained professionally on this, what are the three most common, you know, the basic, you said, talked about those basic fundamentals. What are three pieces of advice you'd give to the three most common questions of people say, you know, I just can't get anybody to give? What's your sort of
I had the same problem when I finished fundraising. I thought I cannot ask for money. That was I don't want to do this. I rather do prospect research. But then I discovered that I think you have to switch your brain and think differently. You are not asking for the money for yourself. You are asking for the money for your organization that helps your community. And I think when you think like this, you understand that it's okay to ask for $5, or it's okay to ask for $100,000. As long as your brain is telling you, I'm not asking for myself, I am asking for my community.
Right. Okay. And the other comment that I was going to just add to that, I mean, asking for your community, sometimes people are very generous and surprise you because they are able to give, more than you might want or need, although that's pretty rare, but sometimes people can be very generous. And I think that speaks to your point of communication, that the more you tell people about the work you're doing, the impact it's making, the more that folks can feel confident that their donation is making a difference. So that's really good.
So, and another interesting statistic actually that I just read is that in regards to planned giving or legacy giving, communication is the key. You make yourself visible by communicating. Even if it's not personal communication, but through social media, you're still communicating. And a lot of people, or 55 to 75% of people who leave money in their wills for organizations are not visible donors. Maybe they donated once or twice to your organization, but because you are visible to them, at the end of their life they decided to give to you. So that's very interesting
that is very
piece of
interesting.
information that tells you what communication can do to you.
Okay, we have a good question here from Lasa Zalik. So her question is, we're in the middle of our fundraising campaign now. Many people are telling us that they support our cause, but now is not a good time. What would you recommend that we do?
That I don't believe many. What's many people? Is it 5 or 10? I would not give up on your campaigns. Why? Because if you don't ask, somebody else would ask them, and they would give it to them. Strictly because they were asked. People give because they were asked. If you don't ask, you don't get. So
she's saying it's 20 to 30. So it sounds like they're in the beginning of their campaign. They've got 20 or 30 people that are telling them right now, not the best time.
Well, that's fine. Then say that's fine. Continue with your campaign. If they don't want to give you now, hopefully when the situation is better, probably they are not. They cannot give you now because maybe they lost their jobs, or there must be some kind of reason. But don't give up. Continue with your campaign. Whatever money you can get is a bonus for you.
Okay. Great. So we are at 8:35. We've had a short presentation. We have still 15 people on the line with us. If you have any questions or comments that you wanted to pass on to Janine or myself, I did want to note in terms of technology, so you mentioned, maybe I can just talk briefly about some of the technology tools that are free or relatively free. So I would say Facebook for most organizations is great because we can register for free as organizations or as people, and we have a lot of new tools on there. The main thing that I think that people are sort of seeing in terms of artists and webinars, this kind of presentation, is Facebook Live, which basically means that your computer or your phone turns into a broadcast video camera like we're doing right now. So whether it's artists or dancers or speakers or doing interviews, Facebook Live is a quick and fairly inexpensive way, because you're using Facebook to do that kind of thing. We're using Zoom, and so we at UCC have a paid Zoom subscription, but Zoom is a technology that you could certainly have. There's a free version as well that lasts for 40 minutes for meetings and presentations. There's other video software as well. We're not endorsing Zoom, but there's Skype, there's I think Microsoft Teams, Google Hangouts, a whole bunch of other kind of software that you can use to do video conferencing. And finally, I mean, I think, as you said, Asu, the good old-fashioned phone. So teleconferences, a lot of organizations use teleconferences, especially if they're national. So engaging with donors through teleconferences on a short basis, or maybe on a theme. Those are some of the best tools as well. But we do have one more question here, and actually, it's an idea. I would say it's a suggestion for a webinar. So is it possible to have a webinar on the grants for nonprofit organizations? And I would say yes, we definitely have that on our list of topics to discuss. I would say specifically, if you're talking about COVID-19 government relief, that's a specific topic. And then another topic is sort of how to apply for grants. So we've got, Janine and I have been talking about doing a presentation in this next little while about grant writing and grant proposals. And also we're going to be continuing to give information out about the Government of Canada assistance, I would say, not so much grants, but assistance that's happening for organizations that are doing COVID-19 work. So that is about it in terms of what we had prepared for tonight. We didn't want to keep people too long. I know that there's lots of different kinds of organizations doing fundraising. And as you said, Asu, the most important is to have a plan, to be realistic, but also to be supportive of each other. The guy I remember hearing from a fundraiser a long time ago, for every time somebody says no, you'll have 2 or 3 people who say yes. If you believe if you believe in what you're doing, if you have a good pitch, if you have a good plan, and sometimes you do need to adjust. If you're hearing that something you're doing is unrealistic, then it's not a bad thing to bring that feedback to the group and adjust. Again, we're here to support the sort of fundraising in principle. We don't know the details of every kind of organization and every kind of situation, but Janine and I are available for advice from time to time, and certainly with our UCC branches who have a more direct relationship, we want to support their fundraising. And we know that for the next foreseeable future, those kind of big events, revenues from tickets and big concerts and festivals are going to be not allowed and not safe. So we're all looking at how to do things virtually and online and keep our community engaged. So if there's no more questions, and I don't see that there's any more questions, we will wrap it up at 8:40. So again, my name is Ihor. This is Janine from UCC. We'll share the presentation with those who've registered, as well as the video that we've recorded tonight. And again, this is the beginning of a series of webinars on fundraising, and we hope that you've learned something, had something to think about. And again, I wanted to thank Janine for the excellent job in the presentation and for all the work she does with UCC. Oh, I see. Oh, the question is, Dякую. This was very important. Thank you. Okay, well, we're glad that you spent some time with us as well. So, na dobranic.
Na dobranic.